What was the conclusion of that conversation, and what did that teach you about life and risk?
Wow, that's a great question. So I was just recently graduated from high school. I wanted to go to West Point before that, didn't get in, and it ended up being one of the greatest things that never happened to me. And so I went to the Republican National Convention. I studied like all the major donors. I had to kind of like sneak my way into the RNC grounds, if you will. And after the fourth day, I was so demoralized. I was like, oh, this is not working. I have this idea for Turning Point USA, which basically the idea was to try to win over young people around conservative ideas. And I was in a stairwell, literally a stairwell. And then I saw Foster Freeze doing like a podcast interview with this major cowboy hat on. And I gave him the stairwell pitch. You know, people talk about the elevator pitch. I gave him a stairwell pitch. And he told a couple jokes. He was the sweetest, most godly, incredible person ever. He actually took me seriously because here I was 18 years old, no money, no connections, no idea what I was doing, and no reason that he should be listening to me. And this guy, for people that know, Foster Freeze started from nothing in rural, I think it was like Rice Lake, Wisconsin, became like the top mutual fund manager for like 30 years, the Brandywine Fund out of Delaware, like legendary stuff, right? So he's someone that gets pitched all the time. His life is to listen to pitches. 10 times a day, top companies would come in and try to pitch Foster Freeze. Can you have your couple $1 billion assets under management to buy Coca-Cola or to buy United Airlines? So he's constantly getting pitches. So here I am pitching a guy, a legend, about, you know, this organization that I wanted to start, Turning Point USA, and he took me so seriously. And he wrote me a $10,000 check. And that was like the seed funding. It wasn't shares, it wasn't like equity, it was just a donation because we were 501c3. And it might as well have been $100 million, right? It finally was enough for me to be able to start a website, to have gas in the car. And then from there, the journey just started, and he became a bigger and bigger donor.
What do you think he saw in you?
Well, he probably saw someone that was passionate enough and crazy enough. And honestly, he probably saw someone that was really like naive to a great extent, that I still wanted to get into this like broken political space, but I didn't know any better. And in Foster's own words, he said he saw someone with focus and determination and a Midwestern work ethic. So he was from Wisconsin and I was from Northern Illinois. So we kind of had that in common. And look, I live in Arizona now, and I love Arizona, but I have like a huge Midwestern bias. I think Midwestern work ethic is like the best on the planet, and nothing against other people in the country, but there is something very special about how we're raised in the Midwest and kind of that idea that we're going to outwork everybody, and that's always been who I am. I'm going to do more events and more speaking, and more podcasting, more radio interviews, and more donor meetings, and that's kind of been the ethos. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth. He passed away, unfortunately, a couple years ago. But no, he was a great friend. And you asked the question, what did it teach me about risk? Is that
risk
right?
in life, yeah.
Well, honestly, I had nothing to really risk because I had nothing to lose. And so that's like...
That's a nerve-wracking thing. A lot of people are presented with opportunities to talk with someone, get their foot in the door for some opportunity.
Sure. So what are you losing, though? Like your own...
Getting over the embarrassment of rejection.
I know, but like that's not losing anything, right? I mean, that's... In life, if you think about it, like, okay, if you're second mortgaging your house, like some entrepreneurs are, I don't have like one of those stories, right? I'm sure you guys talk to some of these people. I was on the second mortgage of my house and I couldn't feed my kids. That's actually not my story. That is something to lose. This is like the only thing you have to lose is your own sense of comfort. That's kind of weird when you think about it, right? I mean, I'm not going to ask that girl out. Why? Well, because I'm comfortable in my own corner. Comfort will not bring you success, actually. It won't bring you excellence. Like only in that place of uncomfort and discomfort do you actually get to the next level.
So why do so many people believe the exact opposite of that? That they feel like that's a big risk for them to go and do that. Like, why don't more people think like you? Because I agree with you, I think.
First of all, it is risk in the sense that we as human beings do desire comfort, and we want to kind of be in a place where we can have certainty above uncertainty. And going and asking a question, or going and asking a top billionaire for money, you have the probability of failure, and we are very failure-averse as a species. And honestly, we should be. Like, you think about 5,000 years ago, you have, 2 kids, and you're living in, like, Mesopotamia. And you're like, well, I hope there's food over that hill, and if you're wrong, your whole family could die. So, like, that's embedded into our species, right? God designed us in a way where there was not a lot of food all the place. So now you kind of extrapolate that kind of genetic wiring where we used to be in the wilderness to Foster Freeze, and you think you're like, wow, Foster tells me no. My whole life's gonna actually no, you're gonna be fine. Like you could go and still eat food and you're not gonna die. And so I think we have to overcome our genetic hardwiring where so many people think that it's like a life or death situation. I can't ask this girl out. I can't go ask for a raise. I can't go to my boss. I can't assert myself. And you have to overcome that because it's actually not that much risk. Now, what is risk is like if there's a material or a reputational thing you're putting on the line. Like, for example, if like you're working for a company and they're like, you know, you're not allowed to express your conservative views and you're like all of a sudden wearing a MAGA hat, that's a risk. Like, I totally get that. But if you're 18 years old and you have no money, no connections, no idea what you're doing, I had nothing to lose. And that's actually one of my main arguments for like why we have so few entrepreneurs nowadays. We have less and less entrepreneurship rates are going down, is we're sending all these kids to college and they're telling you to be risk averse. Like the whole incentive structure in college is to not pursue big, broad ideas, is actually to stay rather cloistered and play it safe.
Speaking of that, that's where I first found your content, was you on the college campuses debating. When did that start, and what was the most surprising aspect of that?
Yeah, so I've been doing that for 13 years. I haven't been doing that on camera for 13 years. And so, look, the Lord has been so amazing to us and has blessed us in amazing ways. And so I never would have imagined, like honestly, ever since like I met Foster Freeze, that we'd be somewhat of kind of like a household name. I don't want to overextend it, but I mean, there's some serious virality and some real punch behind what we're doing. So I started doing that without even filming it. And so like, that's what people are like, you have to, and that was before like mass social media 13 years ago. It was still there. Honestly, I should have filmed it. It would have went like the trajectory probably would have been even faster.
Back in
but
2012, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, cause that was like raw internet and like, it would have been really interesting. But that's how you know I actually believe this stuff is I used to go and debate kids when there was no incentive structure for virality. I just did it because I loved it and I love the battle of ideas. And I did it to try to start like a turning point group on campus. And so I've been doing it for 13 years. We started filming it around 2017. We started perfecting the model really around 2021. And then 2023 is when all of a sudden it kind of became somewhat a cultural phenomenon. And then, of course, the last year seems like I can't get out of people's algorithm.